1,
2,
3,
4.
Monster movie.
Fun time, go! Monster movie.
Fun time, go. Monster.
Movie.
Fun time.
Go!
Monster movie. Fun time, go.
With Precious D and Honeybee.
Fun time, go!
Hello, friends and neighbors, and welcome to the show. I am one of your hosts, Precious D.
And I am another one of your hosts, Honey Bee.
Honeybee, today we are finishing off the trilogy,
Woo!
Daimajin trilogy.
Yay!
Daimajin number
Over.
3, also called Wrath of Daimajin, also called Daimajin Strikes Again, also called Daimajin's Counterattack, or as I call it, the Four Panchitos.
Yay! At least this was a good freaking movie.
You like this one better?
Yeah, I did like this one better because, the little chavalos.
The kids.
They're so cute. Yeah, I thought they did a great job. And it was good because, the whole movie wasn't just like death and destruction. We got to follow this story of these 3 or 4 at sometimes brave children.
Yes, we have kids in the wilderness story through most of it.
Yay!
Yeah, this is the third one, released in the same year, 1966, as the other two. It's in color. It's by the Daiei Company, directed by Kazu Mori, written by the same guy, Tetsuro Yoshida, and music is by Akira Ifukube.
Shout
We
out.
have Hideki Ninomiya as Tsuruchiki. I think they just call him Tsuru.
Yeah.
Mashidi Izura as Kinta, Shiri Hori as Daisaku, and Muneyuki Nagatomo as Sugitatsu, who they just call Sugi most of the film. And I don't really care about anybody else in the movie, except for Chikara Hishimoto as Daimajin.
For his last 20 minutes, as per usual.
Yes. Once again, I have a summary from Kaijupedia, I think
Thank
is what
you.
it was.
Kaijupedia?
Except I noticed they made a mistake. In 2 places they wrote Kinta when they meant Sugi.
Oopsie. Gotta keep up with those damn kids.
I might be able to edit it. Well, it was a little hard keeping up with them because this is another one of those movies where they don't say people's names until way into things.
Yeah.
They don't say them often enough. So we start off with a snowstorm, and there's a family in a house, and it's a big storm, and they're complaining that Maijin has gone wild again. The roof collapses, and Daimajin stomps around, and the people are praying. So again, with the weird, I guess he's the kind of god that really is just a force of nature. Because sometimes he just lashes out for no discernible reason, and you got to pray for him to go away. But then sometimes he does actually seem to be actively helping you or actively smiting your enemies.
Maybe it's one of those God works in mysterious ways kinds of things.
I guess so. But they're just complaining that Daimajin is angry again, and something about his curse. And a narrator tells us heavy snows, floods, droughts, earthquakes, all these disasters were believed to be acts of Maijin, the mountain god. So he's back in the mountain now.
Mm-hmm.
He was on an island in the second one. He was in a mountain in the first one. This statue is on the mountain. But he eventually calms down, and then a woodcutter named Sanpei stumbles home after escaping enslavement in Hell's Valley with the rest of the men from his village.
Which this is very first and second movie, same thing, poor people in a, there's a guy who's the bad guy who's making them slave labor day and night. Very same thing as the last 2.
Third time, some shit samurai warlord has just decided to enslave a bunch of people to build shit for him.
Mm-hmm.
He tells us that they were all taken to Hell's... he comes in, he's all worn out and near death. He's so exhausted, and they ask him where the others are. They were all taken to Hell's Valley. We were felling trees, and Lord Arakawa's men came suddenly and took them away. And they're making them build a big house at Hell's Valley. I wrote down here Lord Kayama, that snow's coming soon, no time to rescue them. I think they wanted to tell Lord. I think Lord Kayama is the good Lord that.
Yeah, he had like reported that to this Lord that they were like that this slave labor was going on, and before he can say what came of that, he dies.
Yeah,
he's like, I reported it to Lord Kayama. Death. So we don't know what happened.
So I guess he stopped off to give his report before he came home. And the only way to escape was by passing Maijin's mountain, which is a big no-no. And it's a little unclear why he's dying exactly, if he just wore himself out.
Yeah, I think he's just like tired and because also he had to escape from there, didn't he? Yes. I think it's just kind of like a matter of he had to escape and then run and make it through the wilderness and yada yada yada. He's
obviously exhausted, but he doesn't seem to have any clear wounds. But yeah, he just lays down and dies. They're not able to nurse him back to health. He just dies.
Yeah.
So then there's these three kids. These three kids decide that they're going to go and tell the captives how to escape.
Yeah, they're going to go
since this guy found the escape route.
Fathers.
Yes, fathers and brothers. So one of the kids' father is there. Another kid's brother is there.
Mm-hmm.
And this is Tsuri, Kinta, and Daisaku. And the youngest one wants to go with them. Sugi wants to go with them, and they tell him, no, you're too small. You can't come. He is Tsuruchiki's brother, I think. Or is he Kinta's brother?
No, I think he's the first one's brother.
I can't remember now. I thought he was Kinta's brother because of what happens later, but we'll get to that.
Bum bum.
So anyway, these three kids mount an expedition through Maijin's mountain to Hell's Valley to rescue them. At the entrance to the road through Maijin's mountain, they are turned away by an old woman who lives in the area, who tells them they will be punished by the vengeful god on the mountain for going through.
I love when she tells them all this stuff, and she's like, all of these things, and then the kids are just like, yeah, we know. And she's like, you know, and you're still going to do this? You will be punished.
Yeah.
That was very cute.
Not at all clear why. There just seems to be, at least in these movies, I don't know if this is true of actual Japanese culture or religion or whatever, but there seems to be a number of forbidden areas. Like in Varen the Unbearable or Unbelievable or whatever the hell he was, there was a forbidden zone, and Maijin's mountain is a forbidden zone, and I think there was some forbidden areas in the other Maijin movies.
Yeah, for sure.
So they just wait for her to leave and are going to go along anyway. And that's when they find that, oh yes, it says here, Tsuruchiki's younger brother, Sugisatsu, has been following him. This little kid has followed them all on his own all the way. He's got his shirt pulled up over his head like Beavis to protect it from the sun. And they begrudgingly decide it's too far to send him back alone and allow him to join their journey. These kids, I guess they're all like freaking Boy Scouts.
Yeah,
they
they're
just
all badass.
know how to do.
They are all bad. I mean, they live in a village. They're poor. Like it's not really that surprising, I feel like.
Yeah. There's no modern tech, so it's not a big surprise that they know how to make fires and forage for food and cut down trees and shit. But they're pretty good at this stuff.
They really fucking are. They are. They're badass. I really enjoyed this one, especially compared to the last two.
Yeah. Right up until they're not.
Yeah.
In Hell's Valley, on discovering that a worker had escaped through Maijin's mountain, Daisen Matsunaga sends 3 warriors into the mountain to find him. When his lord, Arakawa, returns, he informs him that his plan to build a base in Hell's Valley and make gunpowder from the sulfur springs would take 2 more days to finish construction, making the workers nervous about their fates, because the workers know that once we're done building this, they're probably not going to let us go. They're just going to kill us. Yeah. So it's called Hell's Valley because there are these sulfur springs, these just bubbling, hot water full of sulfur.
The real
the
life
area.
fog of eternal stench.
Yes. And you do need, sulfur is part of the gunpowder
Mhm.
process, one of the ingredients.
Is sulfur the thing that you smell? Like, isn't it like a superstition or like if the devil's around or some shit? Is it sulfur?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a burning, hot, stinking thing, and hell would be described
Maybe
is
smell
often
like
described
that.
as stinking of sulfur. Yeah, it's full of sulfur. They're using sulfur to make the heat in hell, or I don't know what all. But yes, yes.
Got it. So he straight sacrifices a dude into the bog of eternal stench.
Yep. Let's see. After tumbling down a sheer mountain wall in a rock slide, the boys discover a hawk in a tree, which the old woman had told them was a messenger of Daimajin.
I really liked this Hawk character, like this little sidekick
Yeah.
action. Daimajin doing a little Disney princess, got a little animal sidekick.
Yes. The boys then opt to take the mountain path rather than attempt to climb again, and come to the statue of the vengeful god. And I thought he looked bigger.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it might not be that he looked bigger. It might just be that he's kind of like not like in the other one. He was really in the mountain, or there was something behind him. And in this one, he's kind of elevated, and there's not really much behind him. Like he's kind
So
of
it makes him look bigger.
So it looks, yeah. So maybe he just looks bigger.
Also, there's little kids looking at him, so
That's
compared
true.
to them, he might look bigger. Because I think once he starts tearing stuff up, he seems the same size.
Sure.
Because they're probably using the same models. Tsuruchiki begins to pray to it, as do the others, and they continue down the road until they encounter samurai sent by Lord Arakawa. These dicks. They run into these
fucking dick. These
They're
guys
just
are
like,
assholes.
kids, get them. It's like some Home Alone shit. They're just like, we got to get those kids. They narrowly escape, and Daisaku's brother Shohachi, one of the slave workers in Hell's Valley, resolves to go get their lord for help. On his way out, he is captured and thrown into the sulfur pits as punishment. The boys then encounter the samurai again, and Sugasatsu steals their food. This was so funny.
Yes, it was so cute.
They see the three larger boys and they chase after them, and Tsugi just comes walking up from the side, an angle where they should have been able to see him, but they
But maybe
don't.
because he's so little, like he's so small to the ground.
But he doesn't even sneak up. He just casually strolls up as they're running past him and goes and takes their food.
His nose was like leading the way. Really, they're probably like really hungry by then. Too.
Yes, they did. We do see them pack some food. One of them pack food before they leave on this journey. They did plan ahead.
Definitely not enough though.
But they keep losing shit. Elsewhere, one of the boys' mothers and her group of villagers are approached by a group of men from their lord's castle to search for the missing men on her journey to Hell's Valley after Senpai died. That is a bad sentence. Some of the parents figure out the kids are missing, and they kind of decide to go look for them, and then they run into the good lord and his men who have come to investigate the situation.
Pausa rapidinho agora para falar de dica de ouro para os papais e mamães. Depois de experimentar a nova Hug Supreme Care Fralda Roupinha, tudo ficou ainda melhor pro meu filho. É a única com canais em X que se adaptam aos movimentos, com 2 vezes proteção noturna e cintura elástica que se adapta ao corpinho do bebê, além de ser super fácil de colocar e tirar. Praticidade pura. Então guarda essa dica. Nova Hug Supreme Care Fralda Roupinha. Bebê, estamos juntos nessa, mais do que nunca. Agora curta seu podcast.
The boys then attempt to raft down the river to Hell's Valley. They build a raft.
They built a whole ass raft. And I mean, it's impressive.
Yeah, and it does pretty well for a while, but they come to some rapids and they hit a rock. And the raft breaks. And they get separated. This is the worst part.
It is the worst part.
It just says the raft breaks and Quinta is swept away. What happens is they go off, when it breaks, they go off in 2 directions. And Tsugi and Kinta are on one of the rocks with a piece of the raft, and the other two kids are swept off in a different direction, and they get to the shore. And Tsugi's trying to hold on to Kinta, but Kinta just kind of gives up. I think he's afraid he's going to sweep Tsugi away with him.
Yeah, because Sugi's so small.
Yeah. I mean, he's holding on to him as tight as he can, but Kinta kind of lets go and gets swept away.
Ugh.
And we never see him again.
We never.
And it almost looks like he dies instantly, but that might be because it's just a dummy floating away and not the kid.
Yeah, I was so like confused that we never even bring him up, or like it's just like he never happened.
Well, they all seem pretty traumatized by it. Oh, I want to go back a little bit too. There's a part where they're on a sort of a ledge when they're going along the mountain, and they come to a part where there's a gap, but there's a log over top of it, and they start to cross the log and it breaks. So then they cut down, and then one of them almost falls in. Tsugi, the young one, because they're like, "You're lighter, you go first." They cut down another tree and make a new log bridge and walk across it. And as I'm watching this, I'm like, these kids are all doing their own stunts. And it may be because of the shot that the drop might only be 5 feet, 10 feet at the most. And there's probably a big cushion pad down there underneath that we can't see. But they still have these little kids walking across this log bridge.
Hell yeah.
And nearly falling off of it.
Little badass.
And then the samurai try to follow them, and I think they knock the log out of the way in time, so the samurai can't get at them. So yeah, that was one of the badass things they do. And then they build the raft, which was badass until it broke up and one of them appears to have died.
Yeah, but what bothers me about this is like they all kind of die, and like, well, we'll get there.
Right.
Anyways.
Yes. No, I kept thinking we were going to find him.
Yeah, or he was just gonna or whenever he brings the other kids back to life, that maybe he could just get that other one. And when he brings his own hawk back to life, he could throw the other kid just boop because he's the god. But nope.
The remaining boys then spend the night in a rotting tree, and in the night a snowstorm hits.
I think this part may have been like another one of the like really hard parts when he's trying to keep them awake and he's like, "Count with me." I was like,
Oh no, that's not this part yet.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. After a sleepless night and a day of walking, they collapse from exhaustion and are found by the samurai, who attack them and are in turn attacked by a hawk.
Yeah, bitch. Sidekick.
The villagers then come to the statue of Daimajin, who begins to awaken after one of the samurai shot one of his hawks. I only thought there was one hawk, but...
Yes, same. I thought there was one hawk, and then he brought that one hawk back to life.
Yes. But in any case, the samurai shoots a hawk. Mm-hmm. And this pisses off Daimajin. Again, Daimajin lets shit happen.
Is trying to kill the kids, and the hawk attacks each one individually. There's 3 samurai to 3 kids, and the hawk comes down and like pecks their freaking eyeballs and like attacks each one of them. And then the last one, he shoots the hawk, and the hawk with his last dying breath comes down and pecks his eyeballs out and then dies.
So maybe they thought a different each guy was being attacked by a different hawk, but I think it was one hawk.
Yeah, I think it was one hawk.
Attacking multiple times.
Yeah, totally.
Daimajin then begins to bleed and changes form. He puts his hands in front of his face and comes down with the angry face.
Angry face. Mm-hmm.
As Tsuruchiki begs him to pardon Daisaku. So here's the part where they kind of skipped it. It's getting really cold, and 2 of the boys are
dying,
succumbing. They're succumbing to the cold and the exhaustion. And yeah, Tsuki is trying to get them to count to stay awake.
Trying to keep them awake. Hasn't he heard that counting makes you sleepy?
Yeah. So,
so sad.
he begs Daimajin to pardon Daisaku and Tsugi, who had frozen to death, and offers his life in exchange.
Yeah, but what about the other guy? He forgot his
I know.
friends.
He doesn't. I know. And we don't know. He could have washed up somewhere. We don't know.
He's never mentioned again.
How many movies have you
weird.
seen? In how many other movies does somebody fall in the river and then a little while later you see them on the edge of the river And they're not quite dead, but not this one. Daimajin then teleports to where Tsurachiki had fallen in. Okay, he kind of jumps in off the mountain into the snow. And Daimajin glows a kind of golden glow. And then a little bit further away or elsewhere, the ground starts glowing and he rises up through the ground holding Tsurachiki.
Yeah.
And lays him on a rock where the other kids wake up, where they're lying and they wake up. The hawk is also restored, but not Sugi. So I guess he just died too far away. I don't know.
No, Quinta died. Sugi's still there.
Quinta. That's right. Quinta. Where Quinta died. Quinta died too far away from everybody else. I don't know. Daimajin is just the worst.
Yeah.
Just as Lord Arakawa prepares to dump his slave laborers into the sulfur pit, Daimajin breaks through the valley walls and begins his march to Arakawa. Arakawa sends his men to attack and tries to immobilize Daimajin by dumping logs on him. But all he does is just, there's a bunch of logs that are all piled on top of each other and there's something holding him in and they cut it and try and hit him with the logs, and all this does is give him ammunition.
Yeah, to throw right fucking back.
He picks up the logs, just like how the guys in the other movie with the grappling hooks, all that did was help him tear down the buildings faster.
Yeah.
This just gives him ammunition. He throws them back at the soldiers. Daimajin then destroys the gunpowder factory and overturns the vats of sulfur, which ignite. Daimajin chases Arakawa and stabs him with his sword. So he's had a sword all along, but he's never drawn it before.
Yeah.
Right. It's been there hanging, but I mean, he's an animated statue. So up until this point, it wasn't clear that sword was functional in any way. It was just a scabbard. I mean, if it were a real statue, it would just be a carving of a scabbard with a handle. There wouldn't be a functioning blade inside of it. But, magic shit, divine nonsense. So he draws his sword for the first time that we've seen and kills the guy, stabs him.
Yeah.
After reuniting with the woodsman, all the villagers kneel and pray to Daimajin. He then turns back into a snow-covered statue and dissipates into a snow flurry.
I thought it was really cool how he literally just poof into nothingness this time instead of zipping away. But I still am so fucking confused. I kept expecting Quinta's family to be there and be where? But the other three boys, okay, where's my son? And they just didn't even fucking mention it, dude. This kid is just gone without a trace. No one gives a shit.
Yes.
I'm so concerned. What happened?
There's also, I've wanted to mention this, I forgot about it. Daisaku's brother, Soahachi, before he gets executed, tells the other kid's father, he's like, my Daisaku is slow. Will you take care of him?
Yeah.
And he says he will. So when they're all being reunited here, first he's hugging his own kids, and then he calls the other kid over and doesn't exactly explain to him that his brother's dead, but is presumably going to in a moment. We just don't actually see it. But he's like, oh, there's the other kid that I'm now responsible for. So you better come over here with me.
Or maybe he's not going to say anything about it. Maybe they're just going to pretend like it never fucking happened. Kind of like his poor friend.
Pretend like his brother never happened.
Yeah, maybe that's just what they do. I don't know. Because that kid just never fucking existed. He was just swept away into the water. The end, that kid. His family doesn't look for him. Or we never see anything else. It's just so weird.
Well, I thought Sugi just looks stunned. He doesn't cry or get upset. He just is in a state of shock after Quinta is swept away. I mean, it's partly because he's a little kid and he may not be that good of an actor, but I thought it was a good way to play it rather than having him cry badly, to just have him staring blankly into the distance.
Yeah.
In a state of shock, I thought was good. And I think they all just didn't know how to talk about it or process it. But at some point, they're going to have to explain to somebody's parents that he didn't make it.
Quinta, R.I.P.
Yeah. And it does, on the one hand, you might be like, you dumb kids, if you hadn't done this, he'd still be alive. But on the other hand, if they hadn't done it,
No, because they led.
all the men of the village would have
Would have been
executed.
dead. Yeah, they
So-
basically like led Daimajin to and through, and you
Yes.
know the hawk and all of that. So totally. But I just
So if
still felt
you're
like
just doing the math, it was a good idea. They saved more lives than they lost.
totally. But we still should acknowledge that there's a kid.
No, I agree.
And like, how hard was it to just bring him back at the end? Or like,
I
my
couldn't
biggest
believe
thing
that.
is like, Daimajin, you brought back all the dead kids from the snow. Where's the fucking dead kid from the river?
Yeah, I couldn't believe. I think if it were an American film, he would have been brought back. I couldn't believe you're making a movie that literally has divine intervention in it, and you're not going to bring the kid back. And they didn't even actually have to do that. They could have just shown us that he washed up on the shore and was okay.
Yeah.
But I guess for whatever reason, you know what I would have done would have been to have that old lady from earlier who warned them find him.
Yeah.
She could have found him, and we could have had a whole little scene about that, and then have him
Well, maybe
reunited. And that would have,
she did find him. That's what I'm going to think. She found him, and that's her
there you
baby
go.
now. Because no one else gives a shit about him.
But I guess maybe they just wanted some tragedy.
I guess.
I
Yeah,
guess that's what
because
they were
this
going
this
for.
movie was low on the tragedy compared to the first two,
Yeah,
which was why I thought it was a better movie, honestly.
yeah. But I liked these kids. I thought they all did a really good job.
Same. Love. Love.
What rating are you going to give this one?
I'm going to say this one's a 3.
Okay. I think I'll bump it up and give it a 4 since I gave the other ones a 3. I liked it better, so I'm going to give it a 4.
Nice. I liked it better, so I'm going to give it a 3.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank goodness that's over for a while until 2010.
Wrath of Daimajin. Yes, if we're able to find the TV show when we get to the year 2010, we will watch what we can of it. I don't think we'll watch the entire thing. It was like 24 episodes, right? I don't know if there's any merchandise. I don't know if you can get a little Daimajin figurine or statuette or something, but it seems like that would be, well, it would have had to have been a popular movie to do that, and it seems like it's been a really obscure movie compared to everything else.
Yeah. It's probably just because of the clash, right? Because it's like samurai meets kaiju. That was kind of like not.
It could be the general public just didn't care for it. The concept just didn't care for that particular mashup. Hey, you got your samurai and my kaiju. You got your kaiju and my samurai. This is disgusting. Don't do that again. But by the time, because they made all 3 of these movies at once and released them in the same year, by the time they realized that people didn't care for it, it was too late. They'd already made all 3.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean,
you go.
I like this one better. I like the storyline better. I liked the sword and the pop and the glowy poof dissipate Daimajin. I thought I liked, there were things, the special effects were better. I liked the sidekick, and I liked the kitties. So it was good.
all right. Well, that will wrap it up for this episode. Folks, please find us on all the socials, like and subscribe and all that stuff. Leave us a 5-star review on the Apple iTunes if you can. We got a fair number of reviews, but we haven't gotten a new one in a while. Send us an email. Tell us your thoughts. monstermoviefuntimego@gmail.com, or you can leave us a voicemail at anchor.fm/MMFTG. Remember to keep calm and seek shelter in basements.
Please do not misuse science.
We will not see you, but you will hear us next time on Monster Movie Fun Time Go.
Love ya, mean it.
You've been listening to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. If you enjoyed the show, please rate and review us on your podcasting platform of choice. Our theme song is by the Texacato Folk Rock Punk featuring Lita Lopez. You can support the show, find links to our social media, and even leave us a voice message at anchor.fm/MMFTG.